Hey guys, Chanko, two turbo, two-time Muay Thai world professional champion, and scary dream of Dillon Danis. Strašný kašmar Dillona Danisa.
The night hadn't even reached the main event when things erupted in the crowd. Dillon Danis and members of Khabib's team clashed in a heated brawl that sent the arena buzzing before Islam and JDM ever touched gloves. By the time the actual fight kicked off, fans were already on edge, and the reactions afterward of Islam versus JDM fight only made the night more hyped. When Dana White was asked about the incident, he didn't dodge the question. He said he actually put the blame on himself. Moments before the main card, security told him Danis was wandering into fighter seating instead of the spot he'd been assigned. They asked if they should remove him, but since Danis had a valid ticket, Dana let it slide, a call he immediately regretted once that pre-fight brawl broke out.
This is the fight game. Crazy stuff happens all the time, especially behind the scenes, but I was right there on press row when that crazy brawl broke out with Dillon Danis and the member of Khabib's team and stuff. Can you just tell us how disappointed you were to see that and any insight into the fallout?
I blame myself for that, actually. They came back and told me right before I walked out for the main card that Dillon Danis was here and he was moving around sitting in fighter seats and not sitting in his own seat that he had. He had a ticket. And they said, do you want us to throw him out of here? And I said, he has a ticket? And I said, yeah.
Dana said security even warned him Masvidal wanted to confront Danis and that they were only a few rows apart, but since Danis had a valid ticket, he let him stay with staff watching him. What he didn't factor in, he said, was the packed section of Islam supporters up front. So when the melee kicked off, he instantly knew what it was. And after seeing it unfold, he made it clear Danis won't be back at a UFC event again, ensuring that he is now banned.
And you know, they told me, they said, Masvidal said he's going to fuck him up on sight. And I said, well, where's Masvidal sitting? He said, well, he's 6 or 7 rows away from Masvidal. I said, well, if the guy has a ticket, let him sit in his seat and let him do what he's doing and keep an eye on him. It never even crossed my mind, as stupid as this could be, that the entire Muslim Brotherhood was here tonight in the first 5 rows for Islam. And as soon as it broke out, I was over on the other side and I go, fuck. I know exactly what that is. I knew it. And yeah, You will never see Dillon Danis.
Dana noted that Danis always says the UFC avoids signing him because he causes too many problems, and after tonight, Dana said that pretty much answered itself. He confirmed Danis won't be back, even after security asked if he wanted him arrested. Dana refused, saying it's the fight business and he wasn't pressing charges, especially since he felt he could have prevented the whole situation. As for anyone else getting detained, he hadn't heard of any arrests, but said he couldn't speak for the others who were involved.
Danis at a UFC fight ever again.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's wanted badly to come in this company, and he said you guys don't want to sign him because he makes too much trouble. I guess point made.
Well, that and a lot of other reasons,
Yeah.
but yeah, you'll never see him at another fight. So they called me from downstairs and they said, "We got him down here. Do you want to press charges and have him arrested?" And I said, "No, we don't want to press charges. This is the fight business, man. You know how I feel about this shit. You know, and I could have prevented this tonight, and I messed up.
Yeah. Anyone else get arrested or anything like that in the fall?
Not that I'm aware of. No, okay. We're not pressing charges. I'm not speaking for MSG or anybody else that was involved in this thing. I don't know, but we, the UFC, are not pressing charges again."
After Dana's take on the fallout, Islam Makhachev offered his insight into why the brawl erupted. He pointed to years of trash talk aimed at him and his team, saying that when someone constantly talks disrespectfully, they eventually have to face the consequences. In his eyes, Dillon Danis crossed the line, which he has been doing so for a while, and the confrontation was a direct result. Islam even added that the situation was serious enough that Danis shouldn't be allowed in the country.
When you talk about someone like last 5 years you talk about someone, when you meet them, you have to answer what you said, you know. And today, I don't think he answered, you know. And he still say a lot of bad things about our team. And today, he coming and somebody just meet him. He talk about this guy's bad, and today the guys just meet him. That's it.
Dana said he's banned from UFC events for life, so he'll never be back to one.
He have to ban from this country also.
Whereas Dillon Danis gave us his perspective, going into the history of what stirred the tensions. He said tensions had been building for weeks, ever since he'd posted pictures of Khabib drinking, which didn't sit well with Khabib's team. And before the Khabib versus Conor fight, there were heated exchanges along the fence. And when that fight happened, things erupted when Danis and Khabib came face to face. Security had to step in as punches were thrown, and Danis explained he was simply defending his teammates, unwilling to let anyone disrespect them without consequences.
Months or weeks before the fight happened, they were commenting on my picture because I was posting like Khabib drinking whiskey and stuff like that, and that for them is like crazy. So I kind of knew it was gonna be hostile, and like I knew like all this shit was going down. And then during the fight, there was one time against the fence when he was against the fence, and he was like saying to me, like talking to me. So I'm like, all right, and we were talking back and forth, and like it was what it was. And then after the fight, he came over, he pointed at me, and I was like going like this, and I was like, "Come here, bitch," or whatever. And then he threw the mouthpiece, and I said like something to him, and he said something back, and then also he just jumped. And I was like, all right, well, now it's a fight. But he jumped in such a weird way. It was like the weirdest thing. So I didn't know what to block. I didn't know what to block a kick or
Like,
yeah, it was like I'm like this because I don't know. He jumped with his feet in the air. So he landed, and then we got into that brawl, and then security's holding me, and then Islam and all of them are punching me in the back of the head. Yeah, you know, you're not going to disrespect my boy and then try to come at me, and then, you know, I'm going to always defend my boys back.
Now, moving on to the aftermath of the JDM versus Islam fight, with Islam securing the win, experts are diving in with their reactions, starting with Dana White, who reflected on his decades in the fight game, noting that everyone always hypes up fighters as future champions, yet very few actually deliver. But when it came to Khabib, his father's prediction stood out, that Khabib would dominate and Islam would follow in his footsteps. Amazingly, Dana said it unfolded exactly as predicted, a testament to both Khabib's legacy and Islam's rise.
And I was saying to Khabib, I've been in the fight business since I was 20 years old, and all I ever hear is, this guy's going to be a world champion, this guy's going to do this guy's going to do that. Everybody says the same thing, and almost nobody ever does or makes it. His father said, Khabib will go in and dominate, and he'll have a run, and when he's done, and then Islam will come in behind him and do the same. And, you know, holy shit, it played out exactly the way his father said, which is pretty amazing. I don't know what you asked me, but I hope I answered your question.
No, it's just...
Following Dana's praise, Michael Bisping weighed in on Islam's performance against Jack Della Maddalena. He described the fight as total domination from start to finish, a one-way street where Islam executed his game plan perfectly. Bisping highlighted Islam's wrestling, noting that he controlled every round with takedowns that only got easier as the fight progressed, leaving Jack with almost no opportunity to fight back.
Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. So, as I said, it was domination. It was an annihilation. It was one-way traffic from start to finish, okay? We knew Islam was going to go out there and try to out-wrestle him. That's what he did. He was very successful. He took him down every single round, and the longer the fight went, the easier the take.
Bisping pointed out that Jack seemed stuck in the fight, moving slowly and struggling to mount any offense, while his coach continuously pushed him to fight back. Though he absorbed strikes and kicks, Jack refused to quit. Bisping highlighted Islam's dominance, noting his 28-1 record and tying Anderson Silva's 16-fight win streak. While Silva's streak might be more impressive due to title fights and highlight reel finishes, Bisping stressed that Islam's performance and accomplishments are extraordinary in their own right.
Takedowns became. Now, Jack, according to his coach, was stuck in the mud. He wasn't moving the feet quite as much. And at the end of every round, his coach, and I'm sure they have a great relationship, so they understand each other, should I say. But the coach was just giving him a hard time. He was like, what are you doing, mate? Don't sit there in half guard. Don't do this. Don't do that. Come on, you got to fight him. You're stuck in the mud. He was just giving him crap every single time. And Jack, as the fight was going on, was just looking more and more deflated, dejected, defeated. DC and Rogan were saying that he was grimacing. He was grimacing in pain. I'm sure that some of the elbows and the punches and the calf kicks were all hurting. But I think for the most part, it was just the fact that he couldn't do anything. He was getting taken down. He was getting controlled. He did do a good job of not giving up, okay? Because, listen, Islam is a tremendous fighter, okay? He's got a record now of 28-1. He now ties Anderson Silva for a 16-fight win streak. I still think Anderson's was more impressive because 12 of those 16 fights were title fights, and that is more impressive. And of course, we saw some wild knockouts from Anderson Silva, but still, I'm not taking away from Islam Makhachev what he's achieved.
On the other hand, Bilal Muhammad praised Islam's performance as a complete masterclass. He predicted early that if the fight hit the ground, it would be a long night for Jack, and it was Islam mixed striking, like sharp calf kicks, but stayed true to the game plan under Khabib's guidance. Jack defended well, but grew increasingly drained. Muhammad noted the unique pressure of grappling with Dagestani fighters. By sticking to strategy, Islam secured the win, earning Team Khabib their first double champ and cementing their legendary status in UFC history.
Before the fight, I said it, if it hits the ground, it's gonna be a long night for Jack. It was a very long night, but Islam did really good on the feet as well. He implemented that calf kick very early, mixing it up. Khabib didn't let him get out of the game plan. He was yelling at him, do not strike, get your takedowns in, right? You get into those modes sometimes where your striking's landing, you're looking good, you're hurting him on the feet, and then you want to go all on the feet. Islam did a beautiful job sticking to strategizing. Jack did a good job of not getting submitted on the feet, on the ground. Islam had some spots, his good chokes. Jack just really had nothing for him. Probably by the third or fourth round, I don't know, he just looked down in the corner, like he really had nothing left. Probably never felt that before. Like I said, when DDP fought Hamza, if you never grapple with a guy from that region, from Dagestan, and you start feeling for the first time, you don't want it to be in the cage because it's different. It's a different squeeze, different feel, different top pressure. Islam did an amazing job in there, sticking to it, and then winning. Team Khabib, Javier Mendez, they get their first double champ in that team, and that's been one of the most dominant teams in UFC history. So that's legendary.
Following Muhammad's breakdown, Robert Whittaker added his own insight into Islam's game plan. He highlighted how Islam immediately targeted Jack's legs with calf kicks, doing serious damage within the first minute. Those attacks disrupted Jack's foundation, limiting his striking, movement, and defensive ability. Islam's wrestling remained dominant, but Whittaker emphasized that his timing was nothing short of sensational. Even with questions about moving up in weight, Islam's cardio held up, keeping relentless pressure on Jack, who struggled under constant attrition on his back.
Went straight for the calf kick within the first minute, straight for the calf kick, started doing some real damage to that leg early on. Obviously, and obviously the wrestling was always going to be a big factor in this fight. Yeah. Islam does what Islam does. But I think the leg attacks just took Jack's foundation away. You know, his grounding in that tight-knit boxing that he likes to use. It affected not only his movement when he was striking, but his defense, his backing up against cage, his sprawl ability, all of it. Not to say though Islam's timing was just
Perfect.
sensational.
Perfect.
You know, sensational. And then you also saw, so I mentioned earlier when we first started that Islam's cardio was in question, just him moving up. How was he going to go throughout the thing? It seemed like even though Islam was like being very physical to get these takedowns, Jack was losing that battle of attrition, being on his back. You know, he had grimaces the entire time. The pressure of Islam.
Demetrius Johnson added another layer to the analysis, focusing on how Islam controlled the octagon. He explained that Jack was never allowed to reset or get back into the fight. Every time he tried to mount an offense or shoot for a takedown, Islam shut him down. Even when Jack attempted a judo throw, Islam pushed him against the cage, removing all the space he needed to operate. Demetrius emphasized that Islam consistently dictated the pace, keeping Jack off balance and limiting his opportunities, while Jack did his best to defend but never gained any real control. However, MMA Guru pointed out a standout moment in round 2 when Jack briefly stopped one of Islam's takedowns and even used an overhook to reverse the position, giving a rare glimpse of resistance. But beyond that, Islam controlled the fight from start to finish. Guru emphasized that with this win at 170 pounds, Islam isn't just the champion, but he's now firmly in the conversation as one of the sport's greatest, solidifying his place among MMA's elite. Whereas Ali Abdelaziz took aim at Jack's coach, Craig Jones, saying his influence hurt Jack's performance. He criticized the game plan, noting that some of the submission attempts, like the buggy choke, fell flat and prevented Jack from fully getting back into the fight. Abdelaziz painted Jones as a jiu-jitsu expert trying to make a mark in MMA, suggesting Jack might have had a better showing with different guidance. After taking aim at Jack's coach, Ali Abdelaziz shifted to praising Islam, placing him firmly in the GOAT position. He argued that Islam's clean approach and unwavering integrity set him apart from even legends like Anderson Silva. For Abdelaziz, competing without shortcuts or controversies isn't just impressive, it's reason enough to recognize Islam as one of MMA's all-time greats. Now it's your turn. What do you think about the pre-fight brawl in Islam versus JDM? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more updates and insider takes from the fight world.